Hello everyone, my name is Indu Varma. I'm the artist here at Saltmarsh Studio. Today we're going to learn to paint a beach scene. So let's have some fun. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to paint a background. We'll have a luminous sky and we'll have the water, the ocean water. And so I'm using this big fat brush, watercolor brush. It's a number 10 brush and it holds a lot of water, meant just for watercolor. Then I'll be using a flat brush, and that is a Royal and Langnickel brush, and also a smaller flat brush, same company. And then I'll be using a round brush, which is a low Cornell brush, and it is also going to be used in this exercise. So I just want to first of all wet my paper with this big fat brush that I have. So I'll put lots of water. That's the nice thing about this brush, is that it holds a lot of water. So I'm just going to put all kinds of water, making sure that my surface of my whole paper is completely wet. So the first thing we'll do is we'll paint a luminous sky. So now that my paper is all wet, I am going to use the yellow first, and I have Hansa yellow light, and I'm just going to make sure that I mix enough water with this Hansa yellow light, and then I'm going to put this on the top 2/3 portion of my paper, making sure that I spread it nicely and evenly, but not like a solid color, going from edge to edge. And it's okay if some of my yellow drips below, that's quite all right. It's not going to cause any major issue. Because down below I will have some water. Water always has shades of green. Okay, on top of that, I am now going to put the cadmium orange that I have, and once again I will dilute it enough with water, and there goes the cadmium orange on top of the yellow. Again, I want to make sure that I go from edge to edge, and let the water do the mixing. And now the third color that I will put on top is going to be the ultramarine blue. So here goes the ultramarine blue on top of that. And this is let the water do the mixing for us. And later on, if you wish to add more yellow or more orange, you certainly can. Okay, but for now, we've got our sky covered, and I'm just wiping off with a paper towel the excess that was dripping down below. Now, I'll once again use my big fat brush to cover the bottom part, which I would like to put the ocean. So now I will use two colors. I'll use the ultramarine blue, and I will use Viridian green, and they're both Winsor Newton colors. And if I have a bit of streaks here, that's okay. The water is not even anyway. And as you can see, the yellow that was up above, it's kind of making my water look more like a bluish green, which is okay. That's exactly what I would want. Okay, now on top of this, I will be putting the Viridian Green. And that's a Winsor Newton Viridian Green. It's kind of like a turquoisey green. And I'm putting this across, but not necessarily putting it even. Okay, I put a little piece of masking tape here to hold my paper. However, that masking tape is not doing its job too well. Anyhow, we're almost finished here. So, this is my Viridian Green. And I want to create kind of a wave type of effect with both these colors. So put a bit more blue here and there, put a bit more green, and let the water do the job of mixing. So this is kind of our background. Now while this background dries, what we're going to do is we'll draw and cut out some fish. So here I have the ultramarine blue, and I have the cadmium red orange, and I have the cadmium yellow. Okay, so I'm going to mix the blue, and I'll take a little bit of the red. I'll clean my brush a little bit. I don't have to have it absolutely clean. And as you see, this has already become kind of a brown. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this brown. I can add a bit of yellow in this if I so wish. Okay, that changes the color. It lightens it a little bit. All right, so now I'm just going to put my rocks here and there, and I can always change their color later on, but right now I just want to put some rocks. Generally speaking, we try to put things in odd numbers. So I'm going to put some rocks here, and I'll put some rocks in two other places, just so that we keep composition looking really good. So there are some rocks here, and this can be a bunch which is bigger than other places. And don't worry if it becomes a little bit streaky here because of the water. We can always fix those things later. All right, and I will put some rocks here in this corner. And I'll put some more rocks here, just a little bit away. But this is going to be maybe just a smaller bunch. And we can always give these rocks a bit more definition by going up, so that we know these rocks are going like that, and then also going down and changing the colors a bit, so making them darker here and there. And like this part here at the base, I can make it much darker. And that kind of gives it an idea of space. Here also I can do the same thing. I can just go in deeper and give the impression of space, and also change the colors put a little bit of lighter color in my rocks so that I can show a bit of volume. Okay. All right. That is looking good. We can always define these things more later. Okay, so now if we want to put some palm trees in here, I'm mixing my yellow with my blue, and I could take a green, but this way our colors are going to stay harmonious, okay? So here's one nice way to paint our trees. I'm going to take one of these brushes. It's a 1-inch square with an edge, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw the trees here with this brush without any color. Okay, here are my trees, and I can put maybe a smaller bunch of trees here on this rock side. Okay, now here's my other brush, and believe it or not, this is a cheap dollar store brush. So now I'm just going to use this brush, and as you can see, wherever I put my brush, wherever the water was there, it's already starting to spread. And I'll also use this brush to put the leaves of the palm trees. We can always fix these later, but right now all we want is just to get an impression of the palm trees. Okay, some leaves go up and some leaves come down, so that's what we're doing. Okay, all right. Now what we'll do is we'll use, it's always a good idea to have either a piece of paper towel handy or a shop towel. Shop towels can be used. So now what we can do is we can use this brush, clean it, and lift a little bit of color here and there because the trees are not all even. Okay, and as we lift the color, it begins to look more like the tree stems as opposed to just a big line. And you can just move your brush zigzag if you wish. It's not that hard to do that. Okay. Same thing we do for the palm leaves. We're going to lift the color a little bit, and then we're going to add some more color. Okay. And if we get a bit of brown mixed in, it's no problem. Okay, as you can see, my water is causing my brown to come down here, and that's okay. The ocean floor has lots of different colors. In fact, we are going to add more color, so that's quite okay. And we can always give more definition to these rocks. These are quite fluid. Okay, also there's all kinds of seaweed on ocean floors, so it's okay to put some green here. And we can add different colors. We can add a bit of some brown spots because the seaweed is not all the same color. We can add a bit of the yellow there too. So you see how the seaweed here is kind of shaping up. And again, have your hand nice and fluid so you can just use the tip of your brush to add little strands of seaweed here and there. And I'll use the same yellow here to define my leaves a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going to put another little bunch of trees here. Put some palm trees. And a little bit of green here. We can add some brown on top of it and have kind of an interesting effect here. And we can always fix all these things later. Okay, so here we are. So now the next thing that we're going to do is add a bit more water and to the middle part here, because what we want to do is we want to add a whole bunch of different colors here. Okay, so just as you see here in this painting, so what I did was I added all kinds of colors. I put a lot of water and just added color here and there and all over. And once that color got absorbed into the paper, then I had drawn some fish ahead of time. I cut them out and I put my fish on top. Okay, it can go this way, it can go that way, whichever way you want. It can go float up, float down. All right, so that's what we're going to do. I will spray this bottom part, okay, and as you can see my color is running, so that's okay. We will take care of that just by using the shop towel, and we can always add more color to the rocks later on. This part here works actually much better if I do it flat rather than then my colors don't. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I have sprayed my paper here, and this is my number 4 Royal and Langnickel brush. So I'm going to just use this brush here, dip it in water a little bit, and I want to put color here and there. And I want to put lots of color. Okay, so I'm going to put blue, and let's see if I can get some more ultramarine blue out here. So yeah, so here you go. So I'll put some blue here, some blue here, some blue there. Okay. All right. Now I will take another brush. Okay, because right now I don't want to create mud. I don't want to make a brown. So I'm taking a clean brush. That's my Royal and Langnickel brush. And I'm just going to use now this brush to put orange. And I'm trying to not put it on top of the blue because I don't want to create the brown. Now some of it is going to get mixed, and that's okay. That is not a problem. Okay, so here we are. Okay, now I will take a different brush again because I don't want to create mud. So I'll take a new brush and I'll use the yellow, and I will put the yellow. Okay, this is my bright cadmium yellow, Winsor Newton. All right, and as I said, I'm trying to put it in 3 different places, and if it's coming close to the blue, it's getting green, but that's okay, because you know that fish have all different colors. Okay, I drew these fish ahead of time and I cut them out. So I'm just going to put them on top of this so that they can and usually you won't have any trouble sticking it to your paper because the paper is wet. All right, so I'm going to put them here and there and wherever I feel like it. Okay, so here we go. And I'll just use a little bit of water to see that it gets stuck there. Okay, here's my another fish, and I'm going to put this buddy here. And then this is my third fish, and I will put this one, I think I will put it here. Not too far away from the other one. Okay, so I have two going up that way and I have one facing this way. Now my next step is going to be, actually I could put one more fish here. Let me see if I have one more fish cut out. Okay, yeah, I do. All right, so because this is a beautiful red yellow area, so I will put this little buddy here. Okay, so now what I will do is I will add all kinds of dark color. Remember, the contrast is important. So I'm going to add the dark color around these fish, but not defining each and every area. Okay, now this blue is getting mixed with that blue, and that's great. I will add a bit more blue here. This is my ultramarine blue that I was using before. Okay, because the reason for this is I want to later on go back and have the outline of these fish available to me so that I can then go ahead and paint the other colors. Okay, all right. So now I will take my Viridian green, because that was my other color, which kind of gave the turquoisey color to my water, and I will use that to add elsewhere while my water is still wet. So this is my Viridian green, and I'll add that around my fish. And remember, water does a lot of work for us, so we don't need to necessarily do all the mixing. It's water that's going to do all the mixing. So basically what we want to do is we want to create the effect of waves, and we want our fish to be flowing and going with the waves. All right. And if you find that it's not mixing well, use your spray bottle. All right. Okay, so now the next step is going to be painting the fish, but we have to let this dry. So while my other sheet is drying, I did this earlier just to show you. So I painted two fish just to show you that, but I didn't paint the third one because I wanted you to see that the outline of my paper where I had laid the paper is still there. So what we're going to do is we're now going to paint this fish. And as you know, fish have lots of different colors. So we're just going to put the colors as we want. And give a little more definition to this fish. And we need not be absolutely perfect in our lines because the fish doesn't have each and every line in perfection. It has got lots of different colors, lots of different lines. I'm using a brush which is small so that I can add details. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white White is a good contrast color. All right, now I'll use a bit of the red. And it just depends on how you want to paint your fish. It's your fish, so you decide what color you want where. If you want some spots, go ahead and put spots. If you want some lines, put lines. It's totally your fish. So give it a personality that you want. Okay. And I have a bit of blue here that I will add here and there. Not each and every line has to be defined. All right, so here we go. That is pretty much my fish.